Welcome to our top 10 plants at this incredible mountain retreat that Jay Sifford designed. And there's another video that you will have hopefully seen before this video, as long as it got recorded well. Hopefully you will have seen a video of this garden, again, that Jay designed. And we've seen Jay's home garden. We've seen a garden he designed in Charlotte, and now this one. And I will have those videos linked down below this. I might make a playlist for Jay's incredible gardens. In this video, we're going to go through about 10 plants, 5 each, that are of our favorite plants here in this garden. And Jay will probably add a little bit of design in his, why he maybe placed them with the companion plants, which may be hopefully super helpful to folks. This is mountain mint. This will be my first plant. There are a lot of species of mountain mint. This is Pygnanthemum muticum, and it is the perennial plant of the year. The Perennial Plant Society generally picks improved varieties of cultivars, named cultivars. And so this was a real big giant break from that, picking a straight species of a plant that you can find right here in the North Carolina mountains and throughout a lot of the southeast United States. There's no better pollinator plant than this. So what you're getting with this plant is you're going to get this kind of blue-green or grayish foliage that I think is quite striking. I think the foliage is incredible, and you can see it from a distance. But you won't get the showy flower that you might pick for other herbaceous perennials that you're picking at the store. But keep in mind, the bees know it's here. All the pollinators know it's here. And when I saw this in the wind is blowing a little heavy, and we're in some rain. We've gotten Jay out here in the rain to do this video today, and it's cold rain. When we saw this, with sun on it up in the mountains a week or so ago, hiking, it's just moving. You can see it's not just bees, it's all of these little moths and wasp, and these things just come out of the woodwork for this plant. So that's the reason this is my number one plant here in this video, and we're going to jump around and back and forth, and let's let Jay give us one.
All right, so my first plant is this Joe Pye. It's called Joe Pye weed. It's not really weedy to me. This is Little Joe, which in certain parts of this garden has gotten larger than it has here. But it's just a beautiful thing. It looks like confetti to me, the way the flowers are shaped. It's got a beautiful pinkish gray flower to it, which works really well with this gray owl juniper, and that's why I chose this. Aside from the fact that it's a very awesome pollinator plant, it's the host plant for the swallowtail butterflies that are up here. And but look at it against this gray owl juniper, which again is a very common kind of big box store plant, but there's enough gray in this blue and enough gray in this pink to really hold the vignette together, and it's just a great combination. And for texture, I mean, you can't beat the texture on this gray owl juniper. And then these flower heads actually have a lot of texture too, so it works on several levels with color and with texture and actually with form.
We talked about in the tour video how Jay used grasses right at the edge here, just to kind of blend into the grasses that were going down the mountain, and just kind of blend his design into it. One of those grasses he used is this panicum. This is a Shenandoah switchgrass. It always has this little bit of a red streak in it. As you can see here, it's really a very soft texture grass, really, and moves around in the wind. This one is pretty common. If you see native plant design gardens with grasses in them, this one is very frequently used. It's got this incredible vertical element to it. It tends to hold itself up big and tall too, where some things that are kind of big and tall and wispy like this will just kind of flatten over on the ground. So this is a good one. We got a few people in the neighborhood now that are using some of these ornamental grasses in their hell strip in between. But some of those grasses flop over on the sidewalk, and they're not the best thing to walk past all the time. But this one will hold itself up big and tall. So almost everybody watching this video can grow this panicum. A lot of breeding, a lot of, we've gone from very few native grasses being used in landscapes to like this is a big backbone of landscaping now. I mean, really has changed. It's really changed quite a bit over the years. And I mean, we had all these native grasses, that people weren't using. They need to be used in mass a little bit like this. We don't have a lot of we don't have the grasses in our garden in Raleigh because we're plant collectors and we're planting one of everything. And one of these is not that attractive.
So I'm going to talk about Karl Foerster featherweed grass, or Calamagrostis, which is this. I love this grass. It just blows in the wind. It gives you a really nice element of kinetic movement in the garden. It always stays really vertical. The plant itself is pretty short. So what happens in this situation is that I have some Baptisia planted back here. And when that blooms, this is still really short. And then when that's done, this grows up and looks really, really nice. It actually holds its shape through the winter really, really well, which is a great thing. And I just love to use other combinations with this plant. So it looks good with this Blue Cascade Cedrus atlantica. Looks great with this gingerwine 9-bark right back here. I don't know, and it kind of looks like wheat.
Next up for me are these blue star junipers, Juniperus squamata, I think is the Latin name for this one. This is a great juniper. It's a little slow growing, and so some nurserymen don't take it on as much as a lot of the other junipers. They can finish a little bit faster. But this is another plant I think needs to be planted kind of in mass a little bit. I don't think you can appreciate necessarily the beauty of these until you get them in a big grouping. I had a big giant landscape job years ago in the northern part of Raleigh, and there were probably 75 of these in the plan ultimately, but they were in groups. And I went back a few years later, and once they had kind of filled in, like these are starting to here, they make this just incredible giant statement. Where a lot of these blue conifers don't necessarily, they're not as blue. They're blue up here. They're blue in the mountains where they can get plenty of sun. Some of the blue conifers need a little protection in the Raleigh area, and we can't get this really rich blue color, but this one we can. We can get this blue color even in the heat, in Raleigh, and I'm guessing in Charlotte you're using them. You use them in Charlotte quite a bit as well. But blue star juniper.
So my next plant is actually two plants, but it is the same species. It's Junipers horizontalis. This is Motherlode, which is a beautiful combination of dark green with this bright yellow on it. And then the one next to it is blue rug juniper. These are awesome in certain situations. If you need something flat that will grow in just kind of a cool way, and then, I said before, I like trees that conifers that raise arthritis to an art form. So when it gets a little size on it, you get these kind of like arthritic looking knobby things here where the branching starts. Great thing about this and how to use it would be to plant it as these are planted, kind of creeping over a boulder wall. You can see up here how awesome they look as they start to grow a bit and creep over the wall. Beautiful for texture. The only thing we were talking earlier, sometimes you'll get leaves that get stuck up in here and it can actually cause the plant to rot a little bit. So you want to clean them out after the leaves have fallen in autumn. But it's just a great thing. It wants full sun, it wants good drainage, and you just need to have a space for it that just where it can just kind of do its thing in all of its glory.
My next plant will be this phenomenal lavender. It has the appropriate name because this is a good one. It was selected for heat and humidity resistance, and that's been one of the issues. I watch the people sometimes out on the West Coast. They'll show you how they maintain their lavender, and they'll take a weed eater to it and cut it down to the ground in the late winter. We out here in the East frequently are like, please let my lavender live. Please let my lavender live. It's a very, very different thing when you have potentially a winter wet and then clay soils, flat areas. They tend not to hold up all that well. But this one is, again, it's worth a try. If you want to try a lavender and you're in the East Coast, you got heat, you got humidity, this variety is probably one of the better ones that will hold up in your garden. You can see it flowering here. Great blue, gray foliage that you would expect on most lavenders, great scented foliage, and then the flowers and the pollinators that you'd expect to get on lavender. So again, this one is phenomenal.
All right, so my next plant is my very favorite hemlock of all time. It is this cousin-it looking thing called Cole's Prostrate. It's a Canadian hemlock. It is a beautiful thing. Usually when you get them, they're a little small, like about like this in a 3-gallon pot. But over 5 years or so, it can just do this, and it's just magical when it does. This is planted very well. Wants good drainage, it wants a lot of sun. It can take some shade, but not dense shade because it'll just thin out and eventually die a slow, painful death. But look how beautiful it looks grown out over this boulder. I come up here sometimes and just kind of do this, you know, like I'm combing its hair. It's great. Some places in the country have an issue with woolly adelgid, which is an insect from Europe that really likes hemlocks. But I plant the dwarf hemlocks like this rather than the big ones because it's really easy to control them if you spray with neem oil or some such thing. If your tree's 80 feet tall, really hard to spray that tree, but this is very manageable. It's a great thing, and again, it's a cousin-it kind of tree that takes arthritis to an art form.
I can't ever stop talking about all gold junipers because when you see it and you see it like this, is just nothing. There's absolutely nothing like it. This is a shore juniper. There's a video on the channel just for this plant because it definitely deserves its own video. So it's this thing will. First of all, it's a lot of times when we're talking about chartreuse color plants like this, there's not a lot of vigor in them. You know, it slows the plant down a bit. This plant's just as fast as any other the blue shore juniper. As well. It covers the ground. It's like a living mulch, you know, in this space, and it contrasts beautifully with, you know, there's a Colorado blue spruce there, you know, there's this Oregon green Austrian pine there, there's a lamb's ear down below my feet here. There's just nothing that this thing doesn't look good with. In the wintertime, it will change a bit in color depending on the kind of winter that you're having, but overall, really great plant. Again, just like Jay said, if you live in an area where leaves could potentially blow into it, you might want to get in here with a rake in the fall and get those leaves out, because if leaves build up in them a little bit over time, they don't like wet feet. And so here's the thing, you got it on a slope, so it's gonna have good drainage. But if it collects a lot of debris under there in time, and that can happen in these junipers, they are susceptible to some root rot issues. But other than that, this all gold juniper is right at the very top of my list. Jay is going to give us that was my 5th and final plant. Jay is going to give us his 5th and final plant, and he's going to wrap the video up. Thanks for watching, guys.
So for my 5th and final plant, this is Stokes Aster, or commonly called Stokes Aster. This particular one is called Peachy's Pick, and it is a great native perennial. The bumblebees love this thing, honeybees love it, swallowtail butterflies love it. It blooms all summer long and up here into the fall. You just can't beat this plant. It does seed, but it's a polite seeder, so you probably won't hold a grudge against it if it makes several more plants in other places of your garden. But it's a great thing, and it's obviously good to mix in with other plants. This looks really good with the Stockies humula, the betony that we looked at earlier. It's just a great plant, and you're doing the bees and the butterflies a real favor if you plant this. So go get it. Peachy's Pick, Stokes Aster or Stokes Aster.